At this hour, I'm Christina Aguayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. A federal judge in Maryland has issued a ruling blocking Doge from accessing student loan systems at the Department of Education, while also blocking access to a broader set of personnel files at the Office of Personnel Management. Judge Deborah Boardman, who was appointed by Joe Biden, said allowing Doge access would amount to privacy violations. The order was made after a coalition of labor unions sued Doge earlier this month, trying to block Musk from conducting audits at the DOE, the Treasury, and the OPM. Boardman has also issued rulings blocking President Donald Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship and banning Doge from reviewing government contracts. Boardman said federal privacy laws restrict what agencies can do with personal identifying information. However, the administration pointed to the law's, quote, need-to-know exception. Doge asserts that it needs to know the information in order to carry out President Donald Trump's directive to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse from the federal government. President Donald Trump is backing Elon Musk when it comes to his demand that federal employees explain what they did last week or risk getting fired. Watch.
We have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist. They're trying to find, that's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group. So what they're doing is they're trying to find out who's working for the government. Are we paying other people that aren't working? And, you know, where's all that? Where's the money gone? We have found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud so far, and we've just started. So I think it was actually, there was a lot of genius in sending it. We're trying to find out if people are working. And so we're sending a letter to people. Please tell us what you did last week.
Governor Greg Abbott is speaking out after a report that an entire city is being constructed in Texas that would be ruled by Sharia law. The governor taking to X saying, to be clear, Sharia law is not allowed in Texas, nor are Sharia cities, nor are no-go zones, which this project seems to imply. Bottom line, he said, the project as proposed in the video is not allowed in Texas. Governor Abbott's remarks come after a video was circulated on social media showing the plans for a 402-acre city that would allegedly be ruled by Sharia law. The community is called Epic Ranches, and it will feature a mega mosque and Islamic school, parks for mass prayer gatherings and Islamic festivals, and a community centered around Islam. The video promises that this new city, located near Dallas, will be the epicenter of Islam in America.
Through the help of all of the brothers and sisters and our prayers, it will be the epicenter of Islam in America.
Mubarak, Epic City.
President Donald Trump says he's hopeful the war in Ukraine is coming close to ending as he met with French President Emmanuel Macron on the third anniversary of the start of the war. Trump commenting on the state of the conflict, saying he believes Russian President Vladimir Putin would accept European forces in Ukraine to keep the peace. Trump also expressed hope the conflict can end within weeks, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will soon come to the U.S. to sign a deal to give the U.S. access to Ukraine's critical minerals to help repay some of the $180 billion in American aid that's been sent to Kiev since the start of the war.
I think we could end it within weeks if we're smart. If we're not smart, it'll keep going and we'll keep losing young, beautiful people that shouldn't be dying. And we don't want that. And remember what I said, this could escalate into a third world war. And we don't want that either.
Mr. President.
Many are now calling for property taxes to be abolished nationwide after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced in a news conference that he's pushing to end property taxes in Florida. Watch.
Okay, you've paid off the mortgage, you bought the land, you've been taxed many times. It's like, is it your property or not? Just for being on your property, you got to write a check to the government every year. So you're basically paying rent to the government to live on your own property. And our homestead exemption is not strong enough to help these folks. That's the thing. If you buy a home for $300,000 and you know there's certain tax, well then what? 10 years later, they say it's worth $700,000, and so you're paying more. And a lot of people can't afford that. So I think that that's a big issue, and I know we're going to be really looking at ways to bring people relief from that.
Jury selection is underway for the trial of the man accused of opening fire on a suburban Chicago Independence Day parade and killing 7 people in 2022. Jurors reported to the courthouse in Lake County for questioning on Monday. Jury selection is expected to last several days, with opening statements set for next week. There have been several delays during the case, partly because of the erratic behavior of the defendant, Robert Cremo III. He has been charged with 21 counts of first-degree murder, among other charges. He has pleaded not guilty. The trial is expected to last about a month, with testimony from survivors and police. Governor Gretchen Whitmer is facing backlash over her decision to hand out more than $145,000 in taxpayer money to her high-ranking cabinet picks, while the residents of her state grapple with high inflation and soaring interest rates brought on by the Biden administration. The Michigan governor is now facing questions on whether using taxpayer money to fund the bonuses were justified, as the state faces budget constraints. According to records, Whitmer shelled out about $10,000 to each of her 15 cabinet members and department directors as part of a, quote, performance pay that recently expanded to include political appointees. Many are now asking if Whitmer was trying to buy loyalty so she could get her agenda passed, or if she simply wanted to strengthen her influence within the Democrat Party. Many of those that receive the bonuses make more than $200,000 a year. Starbucks plans to lay off 1,100 corporate employees globally as new chairman and CEO Brian Niccol streamlines operations. In a letter to employees released on Monday, Niccol said the company will inform those who are being laid off by today. In addition, Niccol said Starbucks is eliminating several hundred open and unfilled positions, adding that the Seattle coffee giant needs to operate more efficiently and reduce complexity. Baristas in Starbucks stores aren't impacted by the layoffs. A new Harvard-Harris poll shows that the overwhelming majority of people say that they support Doge's mission to cut waste, fraud, and abuse out of the federal government. In fact, according to the poll, 72% polled say they think the government is packed full of waste and abuse and support cutting at least $1 trillion from federal spending. 77% support a full review of all government spending. 60% polled say they support Doge and feel that Elon Musk is succeeding in making major cuts. 66% say Democrats should join the mission to cut government waste, and 83% say the government should balance the budget. Representative Andy Olgos has introduced an impeachment resolution against a federal judge who blocked President Donald Trump's executive order to remove all gender ideology from federal websites. The article of impeachment says U.S. District Judge John Bates' conduct in the case was so utterly lacking in intellectual honesty and basic integrity that he is guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors. The Tennessee congressman took to X to make the announcement, saying, "I just formally introduced articles of impeachment against radical LGBTQ activist U.S. District Judge John Bates. His attempt to block President Trump's order to remove web pages containing resources for gender-affirming care from government sites is appalling. At no point in American history," he said, "has the judiciary considered the surgical or chemical castration of healthy children to be compelling or even legitimate health concern, and it shouldn't start now. We must protect our children from predators like Judge Bates." Earlier this month, Bates agreed with a left-leaning physicians group that said President Trump's executive order recognizing only two sexes likely violated federal law when they took down the various web pages. Thieves have targeted freight trains running through California and Arizona in a string of heists that have resulted in the theft of more than $2 million worth of Nike sneakers. Prosecutors say that during a January 13th robbery in Perrin, Arizona, suspects cut an air brake hose on a BNSF freight train and made off with more than 1,900 pairs of unreleased Nikes. The shoes were worth more than $440,000. Many of the shoes were Air Jordan 4s that won't be available to the public until March 14th. Authorities are investigating at least 10 heists targeting BNSF trains in the Mojave Desert since last March.
That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina Aguayo, Salem News Channel.